Hey everyone, how's it going tonight? Or today, tonight? I don't know. We're kind of in that in between time right now. But I want to welcome everyone who's in here so far. Go ahead and let me know who you are. Righteous Monkey, Daniel, what's up, man? Yeah, I got something to tell you, all right. I got something to tell you. Have you been looking forward to it? Because I have been looking forward to telling you. Who else is in here? Let me know. And without further ado, we are going to get started here. I've thought about waiting for a few minutes to let people come in, but I'm like, you know what? You snooze, you lose. So let's go ahead and get started. I do have something to tell you. And interestingly enough, after I tell you what I have to tell you, we're going to reflect on things a little bit, and I noticed some pretty interesting something pretty interesting about what I have to tell you in the title after I wrote the title. But I was like, should I change it? And I was like, nah, I'm not going to change it. Marky Rizzo, am I pregnant? No, I'm definitely not pregnant, Marky. That would be impossible. Although it would add to our bunker crew population, no, I'm definitely not pregnant. Actually, side note on ketamine treatment, I cannot get pregnant. I would have to stop getting treatment. I could get pregnant if I stopped treatment, but no, the answer is no, I am not pregnant. All right. So, hey, everyone who just walked in, go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know who's here. Awesome to have your company. Also, understand if you prefer to ghost listen, totally support that. Slow mo, what's up? Brian. Hey, Brian. Welcome to the party. All right. So, I do have something to tell you. Someone asked me this week if it was clickbait. No, it is not clickbait. I really have something to tell you. So, without further ado, I want to touch and talk a little bit about how important speech is, how important our words are. And if I could just go on a little tangent here, I was thinking about it today. And when I was younger, I remember doing spelling words with my mom. And this might be super far out there, but this is just to display how important I think language is. The powers that be who designed our language, why do they call them spelling words? Like, I was doing my spelling words with my mom one night, and I was like, Mom, why do they call them spelling words? Who knows? Maybe it's just a coincidence, but I think our words are really powerful. Last night in Slow Mo's live on Uppers Recovery, he talked about thoughts and how important thoughts were. And I was like, did I tell anybody what my topic is going to be? Because I don't think I told anybody. But my topic is speech. And so that's why I chose the title, I Have Something to Tell You, because I wanted to talk about how important words are. And especially in recovery, there's this whole topic called recovery language. Let me know if you have heard of recovery language before, or if this is a new concept to you, and we'll go ahead and get into it. We speak in spells. Exactly, Marky. That's what I'm saying. And Righteous Monkey shouts out to the chat. That's what's up. So, recovery language is a way of speaking that promotes hope. It promotes optimism. And I think too often we overlook the importance of our words in recovery. I did a video, actually, it was my very first video. The quality is really poor. You can barely hear what I'm saying, but it's one of my most popular videos. I don't know if it's because it's the first one or what, or if it's because people are interested in recovery language. But recovery language gives us the ability to focus on what's good and what's going well in our lives, as opposed to what's barely wrong and what's weak about ourselves. So I could go on and on about recovery language, and I think I'm going to talk about this in subsequent lives. Tonight, though, I want to focus on I statements. So let me know if you've ever heard about I statements before and what you think they are. I'm really curious to hear what you think an I statement is. Have you heard of this before? Do you use I statements? I'm going to let you answer that question while I take a sip of water here. Hopefully, someone answers the question. Maybe just no one's heard of I statements. Well, my hair is wild, y'all. Wild today. Let me know if you've never heard of I statements before. If you've never heard of I statements, I want to know that too. I think Marky's trying to think up something clever to say. Hey, Jasmine, welcome to the party. It's so nice to see you. I knew Mark. Okay, Marky, when you quit your job and I felt like I wasn't being challenged, that's a perfect I statement. Something you could say before you quit your job is that I want to be more challenged, right? So yes, Marky, you know what an I statement is. So maybe you've learned this. Have you done like relationship counseling or any kind of like counseling with your wife? I'm curious, where did you learn what an I statement is? Yeah, Aussie, Aussie, welcome Jasmine. She's our New Zealand friend from down under. Slow Mo says, Jasmine, glad you're here. Yep, we are glad you're here, Jasmine. It's so nice to be connected with you. Mike, what's up, Mike? It's nice to see you. I hope it's okay that I used your name there. Um, I statements are when you speak for yourself, not others, so you don't make them feel some type of way. Mike, that's very insightful of you. Really, really well done. I'm really impressed that you know what that is. Jasmine, oi, oi. Yes. Marky is a closer. Always be closing, Marky, right? G'day, mate. Righteous Monkey says, hey, Jasmine, what's up? And Jasmine says, hey, hey, Daniel, I have questions about the, oh, that's between, maybe I shouldn't read that. Um, always be closing, ABC, yeah, exactly. So it sounds like we already know what I statements are. Can anybody tell me what the importance of using I statements is? I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on what would be the benefit of using I statements. And while I wait for that to come in, if you feel like answering that question, I want to give you a couple examples just in case you don't know what an I statement is. It sounds like a few, if not all of you do. Accountability. That's a really good point, Marky. It gives it puts the accountability on the person making the statement rather than putting the responsibility of what the person making the statement is going through on the other person. Because ultimately, our emotions are our own, our feelings are our own. And this is something I'm working on personally. So I told you that I had in the beginning, I don't know if everyone heard this, but I told you that I wanted to touch on a title a little bit because I wrote the title and then I was like planning this all out and I was like, wait, I'm talking about I statements and I didn't even use an I statement in the title. What was I thinking? But I think it was appropriate. So let me know if you know when I statements are appropriate. Like when is the best time to talk about I statements? Slow-mo's ghosting. He's making music with the wife. Right on, Slow-mo. That's a beautiful thing to be doing with your wife. And I'm happy to hear that you're spending time together, quality time. That's really good news. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm going to give you a couple examples while I wait to hear if you have any thoughts on when to use I statements, because this is a big question that I had to answer for myself in planning for this stream. Like, all right, when is it appropriate for me to use I statements? And was my title appropriate? I was wondering. Let me know what you think. Like, was it appropriate? In a group is a good time to use an I statement. Okay, Mike, in a group. I just want to know. Oh, I think that's a message to Righteous Monkey. Oh, yeah, that's important, Jasmine. We have to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jasmine, I feel you. It's challenging to deal with situations like that sometimes. Or when debating. Okay, Mike, I love your answers, Mike. Thanks for answering. No, Jasmine, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. I'm happy that you're connecting with Daniel, and hopefully you can get some clarity on what's going on. So, okay, I had to look up Wendy's I statements because I was really struggling with knowing whether to change my title or not. And I was like, wait a minute, was it appropriate for me to use the word you in the title or not? So, okay, I statements are really good to use when you're sharing your perspective. So, like Mike said, if we're in a group with people and we're sharing our perspective, um, an example of this would be um, saying, which happens in groups all the time. So I'm glad Mike said this. An example would be, you always interrupt me. Isn't that just great when people interrupt you in the middle of a conversation? So, what would be an I statement? And I'll let you answer that, or not let you, but like if you want to answer that in the chat, then feel free to let me know how you would say you always interrupt me in an I statement when arguing with your significant other. Exactly, Marky. Exactly. That's like the next thing on my list that we'll get to. Righteous Monkey, I'm so happy that you're able to give Jasmine some peace of mind and some clarity around what's going on. Jasmine enter Jasmine, that happens to me too. I enter words in too soon and then it's like incomplete and it doesn't make sense. I feel as if you don't listen, Tara. That is not an I statement because you included me in it, Marky. I think you did it on purpose though. Jasmine says, I feel like I'm not being listened to as opposed to you interrupt me. Yeah, Jasmine, that's perfect. That's perfect. I think you get an A and Marky gets an A for effort. So, a good way to turn you always interrupt me into uh, an I statement would be saying, I would like to share my thoughts without interruption. Now, will I be able to remember this? Gosh, I hope so. I hope I'll be able to remember it when it comes time. I'm practicing these now. Obviously, just my title alone shows that I'm not um, great at remembering to use I statements all the time. But like I was saying, I don't think it was inappropriate because another reason that we can use I statements or when they're really effective is like what Marky was saying, conflict resolution. So an argument with your significant other would be an example of conflict resolution and a good time for us to use I statements. Jasmine says she'll be back soon. She loves that example. Thanks, Jasmine. Thank you. Do what I do. Always answer a question with a question. Marky, you do that a lot, especially with Flat Earth. I noticed it's a um, creative way for you. I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but if you maybe feel like you have an answer, but maybe don't know exactly how to communicate it, you answer a question with a question. Or maybe you want to get the person to think about it a little bit more or do their own research. So you ask a question with a question. I'm curious, why you answer questions with the questions, because I can speculate all day long until the cows come home, but only you know why you answer a question with a question. Daniel says, when I talk about the bag dump venture, I feel nobody is listening. Daniel, I think that you are the biggest supporter of the bag dump hashtag, and I really appreciate you. Um, I feel happy when supported by others. That's a whole nother thing I actually really wanted to talk about is support and feeling supported because, well, I'm going to make a note of that. And when we finish this topic, well, I can I can get into that. It's important to me, and was thinking about making a short about it, but I feel like talking about it now would be just as good. And then if I want to make a short too, I can. I think everybody's laughing about Daniel, your comment. Daniel, have you ever taken a bag dump before? Has anybody ever taken a bag dump before? Dude, my hair is being wild. Whew. To get the wheels turning. Okay, it's how you get information. You think yes, asking a question is a way to get someone to open up? Like, okay, I could see that, like to get them to think. I've never thought of it that way before. That's a good point. Anne Marie Bliss in the house. Welcome, girlfriend. It's so nice to see you. Oh, don't worry, Anne Marie Bliss. I'm glad you're here. Have I spilled my news yet? Yes, I did spill the news, but we can review it because I'm not quite finished with it. So I'll do a recap for you. Righteous Monkey has a bag dump story minus the bag from when you were a kid. Oh my gosh, are you willing to share that with us? Because after last time when I shared my story with you, I would be really happy to hear what your story is. So Anne Marie Bliss, what I had to tell you, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to bore the people who already heard this, but we were talking about speech, how important words are. And there's this whole niche of peer support called recovery language, which I find to be fascinating and incredibly interesting. So we started talking about I statements. And I'd be curious to know if you've ever heard about an I statement. So let me know if you've heard what it is. I won't explain it if you've heard of it, but I will if you I'll go from there. Just let me know if you've heard of I statements and if you know why they're important. Back to the topic at hand. My bad. No, I mean, I'm open. I just wanted to start the conversation off and I think I kind of like connecting the conversation, like an AA meeting, for example. I always liked there being a topic and then sharing my story and connecting it somehow to the topic. It was always kind of like a riddle or something like that to me. So I'm totally open to talking about whatever y'all want to talk about. I want to know what's going on with you. I want to know what you're going through in life. What are you celebrating? What are you struggling with? And then I will do my best to speak in recovery language. Hey, everyone that just joined us, and it's so nice to see you. I'm going to do my best to speak in recovery language back to you. And I've been practicing this for a while now since I learned what it was. And I'm getting better as I practice. Slomo says bag dumps. Adventures. You know, whenever I was mortified when people started talking about bag dumps after I brought it up. I was just like, because the second time I heard about it, well, not the second time, but I mean, it was like the first live that I had here. We were talking about bag dumps, and that was kind of mortifying to me. But the more I think about it, the more it reminds me of how much I love to adventure. And that's ultimately where my recovery is going. Like, eventually, I'm not going to be here in this room. Like, I might move soon. Um, and I'm getting closer, one step at a time, to getting back to the things that used to bring me joy. So I might be live streaming somewhere in the woods someday, or by the beach, or something like that. So stay tuned for that, because I feel like inspired to recover and to show my recovery. And that, actually, I want to talk about that too when we talk about supporting others. So I'm just making a note here. Okay, so Marky says, I've worked out of a truck for 25 years. Service techs have a lot of stories. I bet you do. I think anybody who travels probably has a lot of stories. And I love hearing stories from people. Marky, um, I would be interested to hear if you have any. Uh, I think it's challenging because you're typing, and sometimes it's easier to talk. But if you have something that you want to share with us, like, I managed to share the bag dumps. So I'd be interested what you could share with us about the stories that you have about being a service tech on the road. Okay, so Anne Marie says she has heard of I statements. Okay, so this is good. I think it's great that everybody has heard of I statements. I'll get a little more in depth with recovery language then, later on down the road, since it seems like everybody knows what it is. Anne Marie says, "Hi, Marky. Can I call you Marky?" Call me whatever you want. Marky's been called many things in his day, so yeah, call him whatever you want. Anne Marie, I'll give that some thought. Yeah, Anne Marie, be creative. Marky loves creativity, and so do I. Kimmy in the house. Hey, Kimmy, welcome. Kimmy's got to pop in and out because of work. I understand, Kimmy. I'm glad to see your face. Hola, Kimmy, Marky says. He can tell third party bucket dumps. What do you mean by that, Marky? Do you mean that who's the third party? I'm trying to think. If you're on the road, um, well, you do repair work. You go from house to house. So I'm trying to envision in my head what a third party bucket dump would be. Who's the third party? Because what I'm thinking is there's you, there's your customer, and then who's the third party? Would it be the neighbor? Did you catch the neighbor doing something dirty in the yard? We're guys. We share horrible, funny stories. Not my story, someone else's. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Personally, I think it's wonderful. Laughter, I personally think, is the best medicine. And so if you've got funny stories to share, Marky, that's why everybody loves you too. Like, I love seeing you in chats. I love seeing Kimmy in chats and Slow Mo, like Righteous Monkey, Anne Marie Bliss, everyone that's in here. I so appreciate, and I love. I feel like I feel like maybe I could do a better job at like cracking jokes, and maybe I'm a little. I don't know. I think I don't know. Some days are better than others, I guess, in terms of joke cracking. But I appreciate all the jokes. It makes things interesting. Okay. Oh, so it's a third party bag dump, or is it a bag dump, or I gotta look at what you said again. Bucket bucket dumps. So, okay, if I had space for a bucket, and I think I shared this before, I would definitely use it. It would come in great handy, especially I can't believe that I just started saying that, but like, so I feel like I just painted myself into a corner because I don't love it when people start telling a story and then they stop telling the story. And then I just wonder what it is that they were gonna say. I do have it in me, Marky. I just feel like sometimes, like Kimmy's talked about this before, it's like I wanna be appropriate for YouTube and for whoever else is gonna see this, you know? Like like my mom might see this, even though she, I think, prefers not to watch my live streams because I think she knows better than to poke her nose somewhere where she might not like what she hears. And it's hard for her sometimes to hear me tell stories about recovery. So, because she didn't actually know, my mom didn't actually know that I had the problems that I had. So, I can understand why she doesn't want to come in here. But I wonder sometimes if she's going to watch someday, and I don't wanna break her heart, you know? Marky says we have to move on. No, new people may get freaked. We can move on, Marky. I can respect that. Y'all didn't let me move on when I had new people. Daniel was new to me, and somehow I got talked into telling the bag dump story to someone I've only just started like getting to know, like we just started watching each other's videos, and all of a sudden I'm talking about bag dumps. So I understand what you're saying, Marky, and I don't want to push you over any ledges, but I think people appreciate, like if people are gonna, if if people aren't comfortable with these types of stories, like Kimmy said it before, it's probably not the right stream for them, you know? And now I don't think the bag dump story is ever going to go away. It's going to continue to come up in the chat forever. And I also feel like when I do start to really adventure again, like when I get a van and start traveling again, now I kind of feel comfortable communicating what's really going on out there. So thank you. What's that song? I want to thank you for letting me be myself. You know what I'm talking about. Again. I love that song. I haven't heard it in a while. I'm going to write that down. I want to listen to it later. Thank you. Thanks for being patient when I write stuff down. I appreciate that. Hey, everyone who just came in, feel free to drop a comment and let me know who you are. It's nice to know who's in here. Alex, what's up, man? Alex, you'll be happy to know that I re-strategized and I'm actually keeping up with the comments. Like I made it a point tonight to to keep up with the comments. So I did that for you, man. And and I remember you being here last week and being like, "Tell me the story. Let me know if you've heard the story or not." Because I did end up telling the story, but I think you were gone. So let me. I think I remember. Yeah, I remember. It was a significant story. So Alex, let me know if you want to hear that. I'll tell you it immediately because I'm caught up. Kimmy does it all the time. She starts and then says, "Never mind." I feel like my conscience won't let me do that. Whoa, do it for you, dude. That's so great, though. You're a beast and a half. Let me know this story. Okay. Slomo loves my voice. Thanks, Slomo. Uh, that's interesting. I do like to sing. I've never really done it before. Like, well, I was in a choir, but I mean, that could be fun. That could be a fun project. Okay, so Alex, I want to tell you this. So last week you were talking about how you work on a farm. You or like some sort of cultivation, like a grow operation. And so I wanted to tell you that I saw my nurse practitioner last week and she told me that she thinks that I'll be able to use marijuana responsibly someday if I want. And that blew my mind. I was like, "What?" And of course, I was like, "When? When can I do it?" The answer is not yet. And I, quite frankly, I don't know if I ever will. Like, I might choose to stay at the level of recovery that I'm at right now, which is totally abstinent from all drugs and all alcohol, including marijuana. But it just blew my mind that my nurse practitioner would give me the kind of freedom to do that. Now, obviously, if I started engaging and abusing the substance, the conversation would change. But she said, "Yeah, I think, like if you want to go to the beach and smoke a joint with a friend, like if you can handle that and it doesn't turn into an everyday, all day thing where it's interrupting or interfering with your life, then you could do that." I was like, what? It was actually like whether I do it or whether I don't end up doing it, it was still so relieving to hear that she trusts me like that. And ultimately, like I know AA would not approve. I wouldn't even share that in a meeting because I already know what they would say. But in terms of recovery and how I understand it to be today, which is totally self-defined, it's like, hmm, that's an interesting topic. And I don't know if everyone in here had heard me talk about that, but Alex, that's what my story was. My nurse practitioner gave me her blessing someday. We I had promised her that I wouldn't start using right now. Like right now is not the time, she said. Right now I need to stay on the path that I'm on, but someday, which could be, we didn't talk about a time frame. It could be 2 or 3 or 5 years down the road before I get everything lined up to where that could be a good idea for me. So, I'm not going to be doing anything until my nurse practitioner gives me the go ahead, but that's the story. Tell me what you think. All of you. I want to know all of your thoughts. Not just I want to know Alex's thoughts too. I want to know all of your thoughts. Alex says, "Whoa, do it for you, dude. That's so great though. You're a beast and a half." Are you talking about me, Alex? You think I'm a beast? Or maybe that was, "Hey, Gonzo in the house. Welcome, Gonzo. So nice to see you as always." Slow-mo supports me. He's glad I'm thinking it through. Yeah, slow-mo. I am not going to be making any decisions anytime soon. I can't, anyways. I don't. It's not the time for me to be making the decision. But it was just so relieving to know that one day I might be able to do that, whether I choose to or not. It feels relieving. Alex says, "Thank you for the story. I have so many questions and comparisons. I would love to further this into a conversation sometime." Alex, I would love to have a conversation too. And feel free, like, to ask me any kind of questions right now because we're here. I mean, I already got through most, not all of my content, but I got through some of it. So feel free to ask me whatever questions you've got. If you mean that you want to connect, then I'm going to put my email. I actually got a new email, everyone. I put an email in the chat last time, but I didn't like it. I decided to change it. So I got this. Anybody can email me and we can go from there. I just don't want to put my phone number on the internet, but I figure the email, nobody's emailed me yet. So I'm ready to start receiving them. Alex, I bet you do. I think your thoughts are great and I want to know what they are, however you want to deliver them. Oh, jumping. Okay, so Alex says the beast thing was to earlier, but yeah, you're just jumping into the internet with your life. You're a beast and a half, dude. Yeah, dude, thanks. I appreciate that. It's actually something that I've thought of for quite some time. But when I was, hey, everyone who just joined, welcome, welcome. I couldn't bring myself to do it when I was abusing marijuana. So now that I've stabilized, I feel like I can actually show up for you and for me. It's like mutually beneficial when we do this. So that's why I'm not sure that I'm going to go back to using because my life, I, there are some things about it that I liked better, honestly, and there's some things about it that I like better now that I'm not using it. So if I can get back to adventuring like I was when I was engaging with marijuana use, then there would be no reason for me to start using again other than I don't know. I'm just thinking about like around a campfire in Yosemite, for example. It could be really fun just to share that experience with people every once in a while. Like not every day, all day, like I was doing before. Aw, Gonzo, that's nice to know that you like to see my smile. It's nice to be smiling and mean it. The smile is real today. That's a whole other thing. Um, oh, I wanted to tell y'all. I gotta check the time really quick because I'm not going to be streaming as long tonight. Okay. Oh, we're still golden. I'm not going to be streaming as long tonight because Daniel over at Veterans with Anxiety is going live with Discovering Nicole tonight at 6 o'clock. So I'm going to be ending at 6 o'clock, if not a minute or two before, to give y'all a chance to like go to the bathroom and get a snack or whatever. And then I'm going to be going over to Discovering Nicole's channel to support Daniel. So hopefully, if you're interested, please feel free to join. Alex says I use daily all the time. Yeah, that's what I was doing too, Alex. Concentrates mainly. Yeah, me too. I was smoking dabs all day, every day. I remember you mentioned how you were a dab head. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. How would you like to return or wait, how would like to return to cannabis as a recreation, medical use, or even both, actually. For me, it wouldn't be medicinal because I don't have chronic pain. I mean, like I get back pain and neck pain if I don't do yoga regularly, but I don't get. Um, my nurse practitioner said that she wouldn't prescribe marijuana to me because I don't have pain. So for me, in terms of our conversation, it would all just be recreational use and a couple times per week, which is the issue for me. Like I wasn't able to use that way when I was using. So now that I have a couple years of recovery under my belt, and by the time I get to a stage or a season where I might be able to use, uh, perhaps the recovery that I've done and the all the therapy will allow me to use responsibly. But I don't know. So I'm gonna have to pray, honestly, like pray and meditate on, maybe set a ketamine intention to know whether or not it could be a good thing for me. I think the biggest thing for me is that AA programmed me to think that marijuana is a bad substance, and I understand where they're coming from. I think abusing it is definitely can be detrimental to some people. Well, abusing it, I mean, just that word alone. There's like recreational, normal use, and then there's abuse. And I was on the abuse end of things. So I'm going to have to be really honest with myself. And again, I don't want anybody to be concerned about my recovery or anything like that at this point, because it's not a choice I have to make today. Right now, today, I am not using marijuana, and I won't use it until maybe never. Like maybe I'll never use it again. I need to talk about this with my therapist, actually, because I haven't met with my therapist since I met with my nurse practitioner, and she gave me this news. So I'll be interested to see what my therapist has to say, because she's the one who explained to me that using marijuana shrinks a part of your brain that and can lead to paranoia. I forget which part of the brain it is, but I certainly don't want I don't want to experience any kind of paranoia as a function of something I chose to partake in, even though it's been beneficial for me. It's like I'm searching for other routes um, that would allow me to be functional and actually do good things, good work in the world. Thanks, Gonzo. I appreciate that. Alex says chronic pain isn't the only thing for cannabis. Alex, what are your thoughts on, like, what do you mean by that? What are some other examples of how cannabis can be beneficial? I mean, I know how it was beneficial in my life, and I was doing a bunch of things that I haven't done since I've stopped using it that I really enjoyed, that brought value to my life. Although I did take some photographs today, and that was nice. I haven't been doing that a whole lot, and I love taking photographs, as is seen on my Instagram, if you're ever in the neighborhood of Instagram. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up what I was talking about. The I statements, for anybody who's interested in this, uh, I statements can be really beneficial. Like, they're not always beneficial. So I thought, after I started, researching this, and I was like, shoot, I'm talking about I statements, and I didn't even write the title as an I statement. I said, I have something to tell you, which isn't even an I statement. But it's okay that I said the word you. I statements don't have to be every sentence in our language. It's just it's beneficial when we are communicating emotion, when we are engaging in conflict resolution, and when we are sharing perspective. So it's really like when I think of I statements, I think of conflict resolution and also sharing. So sharing emotion, sharing perspective, communicating our own thoughts is when I statements become really valuable. And people are able to hear us when we use I statements. Okay, Alex says sleep aid, eating aid. Yeah, yeah, the eating thing was helpful to me. Also, the sleep. Emotional aid helps glaucoma. There's so many rather than just pain, but pain is the main thing. Yeah, in terms of what my nurse practitioner said, pain was like the only thing that she brought up. It also works wonders for MS. Yes, I've heard that. And the tremors and can level out the voice into a smooth rhythm. Hmm. I didn't know that about the voice. That's interesting. So Kimmy says, yes, yes, Alex, but it can also cause issues, especially with underlying mental health issues. Right, Kimmy, right. And that's why I'm personally on the fence about it. And I'm not going to be I don't have to make a decision today. I know the road that it led me down, but I also had underlying mental health issues that are now being addressed. And I had um, financial issues happening and that weren't necessarily a function of my drug use. Um, the person that I was working for didn't choose not to pay me because of my marijuana use. So the situation that I ended up in where I was being followed by someone else and not able to run away from them, that's the dangerous situation. I've never actually shared that before. You're getting the um, the inside scoop on this, but um, that was the dangerous situation that happened. It for me, it wasn't marijuana that led me. Marijuana played a part in it because I worked for someone who I worked on a marijuana farm. The person who didn't pay me was a grower, and so it wasn't that marijuana led me to like quit my job or something like that. It was that the marijuana grower didn't pay me, um, which is unfortunately pretty common in the industry. I lost my train of thought. That happens to me sometimes when I talk about it. So Alex says, and those users should not use cannabis or other drugs at that matter. Simple. Right, Alex. Right. And so I think that's my nurse practitioner's point, and that would be her perspective in saying that one day it might be possible for me is that if my underlying mental health issues are addressed, then there wouldn't be a reason anymore for me to have to completely abstain. Uh, but I've yet to decide what I think is best for me. The truth is, and I don't know if it's my addiction, is it a disease um, that would make me think that I can use responsibly? Because they say in Alcoholics Anonymous, for alcohol, it's the disease telling you that you can just have one. But then in terms of like defining my own recovery, like perhaps I can use responsibly again. And I would be happy with that. I would be really proud of myself if I could actually use responsibly. So it's a good thing I don't have to make the decision today. Alex says pain was the only thing originally on the list, and near death cause illnesses that would submit you to obtaining a med card. Now the list is full of reasons with good cause for them to be on. Yeah, I actually used to have a medical marijuana card back in like 2019 or 2018 or something, I think it was, for um, for stress reduction. Kimmy says cannabis can be wonderful for many. Y'all know I support it, but always be cautious. If it's about the high, that's different than it being about the benefits. Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Kimmy. And I appreciate you sharing your perspective. I love hearing your perspective. And also, the fact that I have put myself into the category of recovering from marijuana misuse, of course it would be. I can imagine that it would be concerning to people that that I would even consider picking that substance up again. That being said, I kind of struggle with why I got into recovery from marijuana to begin with, and that's a whole other can of worms. Hungry, happy, sleepy are the side effects, Marky Rizzo says. Marky, do you smoke marijuana? Do you use marijuana? Kimmy's Playhouse, it can be microdosed for the benefits without the high. Yeah, or CBD. I've thought about CBD, very small amounts of THC, so I'm not getting the high at all. Cat Williams said so. Rachel in the house. I know you're at dinner for Tony's birthday. Love you long time too, Rachel. Thanks for stopping in. And tell Tony I said happy birthday. Gonzo says, hi, Kimmy. Slow mo. Cannabis is still a drug, and people can be addicted to it whether they want to admit it or not. Right, right. A lot of people think that you can't get addicted to marijuana, but I beg to differ because I have been addicted to marijuana before. I just wonder, yeah, in terms of like, I get the abstinence model, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, who's to say that if we're recovered, we can't actually engage responsibly? And again, I haven't compromised my abstinence. Like, I haven't used anything, but I'm just being honest about what I'm experiencing right now and the thoughts that are going through my head. And I appreciate the support and all the different perspectives that are coming through. Marky says, I know more potheads than anything else. Yeah, me too, Marky. And it makes me really sad that I don't hang out with them anymore because I'm trying to protect my sobriety. Like, I haven't done a lot of things that I love to do because I've been trying to stay away from people that engage in those behaviors. And that has actually ruined my life more than I think the substance itself did. Um, that's not talking about alcohol. Like that, I'm not talking about having a drink again because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. I used to drive drunk, I would black out. Like, I don't care to go down that road again. But like, I wasn't blacking out or almost killing myself or other people over marijuana. Sometimes I feel like I was tricked into my marijuana recovery, to be frank. Slomo says my wife grew up around cannabis in Jamaica and believes that it is addictive for some. Absolutely, it's addictive for some. Alex says that's true, but it's not as addictive as you can claim it to be. Also, show me an alcoholic who makes it to old age versus a cannabis user. That's a good point, Alex. It's not the worst thing that we could be doing. And um, it's like, my goal is to get off medication. And so it's like, if I manage to heal my mental health and get back to all the things that I used to love doing and I can actually come off the mental health medication. I don't have to have ketamine therapy anymore, and my life is going well. Um, who's to say that I can't engage recreationally, like at a campfire every once in a while? I'm open to saying no too. I'm not saying that my decision has been made. What I'm saying is that my decision is not made, and I have a lot of thinking to do on it. Marky does not smoke, okay, or use marijuana. Marky, the more I think about it, everything is addictive in a way. Yeah, absolutely, Marky. I mean, water can be addictive. There are people addicted to water. Everything can be addictive. It isn't about the substance, it's about not being able to use in moderation. Yes, slow mo, yes. And so my question is, well, if we're recovered, which the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous talks about being recovered, past tense, um, then why wouldn't I be able to engage recreationally every once in a while? It's a big question. It's a very controversial question, but it's an actual question that I've got. And it goes back to the definition of recovery and having recovery being defined by the individual. You know, I had to let go of people's thoughts and judgments when I started ketamine treatment because there's a population of people in Alcoholics Anonymous who believe I'm no longer sober because I received ketamine treatment. But it's helping me and I get it as prescribed. And the big book says that we take medication as prescribed. Anne Marie says she uses it for pain, also PTSD, appetite, and anxiety. What I don't feel is any kind of fun. It just turns off the pain, nausea, and anxiety. Tara, you will figure out what is right for you. Thanks, Anne Marie. I appreciate that support. And I'm happy that you have something that works for you. Um, it sounds like you're using it for a very functional purpose. And I think that's wonderful. A year and a half ago, I wouldn't have been able to have that perspective because I was so programmed to AA's way of thinking. And there's nothing wrong with that. I loved AA. I love the people, a lot of the people, not maybe not all the people, but a lot of the people I met there, I love. And so I'm not saying there's anything wrong with their perspective, just that I personally I value the ability to free think and make decisions for myself. And I don't feel like I have the freedom to do that with AA's ideology. Marky, I would take an edible occasionally, but I couldn't be high around my kids. That's understandable, Marky. I personally don't have any children of my own. I like being around children, but um, I agree. I think it makes sense to not partake with children around. Yo, Kingdom. He's just stopping by to show support, but he's getting through some stuff. So y'all be blessed. Oh, going through some stuff. Kingdom, do you feel like talking about it? I don't know if you're still in here anymore, but if you feel like talking about it, then please feel free to share, and we can offer the best support that we can. It helps. Now I'm talking about what I'm going through, and it helps me a lot. Alex says, I got to take a drink of water real quick. Alex says, the majority of adult cannabis users will respect your choice, Tara. Feel free to engage with them, dude. Yeah, I know, Alex. I know that, like, I'm not worried about the pot smokers judging me for not smoking because let's face it, I feel like pot smokers are some of the least judgmental people that I've met. And I miss them. I really, really miss a lot of my pot smoking friends, and that's the truth. Um, I think for me, I'm more hesitant to engage because I maybe don't trust myself completely with respect to being able to say no and abstain myself. And I've made a commitment to my nurse practitioner. Like my reason for staying clean has changed over the past 2.5 years. It's been different for the different seasons I've been in. But right now, I'm staying clean so that I can continue to receive ketamine treatment and just treatment in general for my depression and PTSD. Yeah, I hope everything's okay too, Kingdom. Kimmy says we will all respect her choices regardless as to what they are, but we wouldn't be good friends if we didn't engage in challenge. Yeah, Kimmy, and that is tied into something that we were talking about the other day, where friends push back. Friends, and I've got some other friends who have pushed back too, and I appreciate that. And I'm so glad I don't have to make the decision right away. And I know for a fact if I did start to engage again and I started to let things slip, or if it changed me too much and I all of a sudden wasn't as available as I have been, that my friends would tell me and I would want them to. Anne Marie says, I used to be addicted to pebble ice. I'm sure that sounds ridiculous, but I felt so uneasy if I was without it. Pebble ice, Anne Marie, do you mean what you would get, say, at 7-Eleven, for example, or a corner store with the soda in it? Like you just get a cup and put ice, the small ice cubes in it? Marky says, Tara, what's your number one proof you live on a spinning ball globe? Marky, this is a good question, and I've never actually been forced to answer this, or not forced, but like, that's not a good word to use. I've never been put on the spot like this to have to answer this question publicly. I don't know. I don't know if the world is flat or if it's round. I feel like the more I hear about the situation, the more I question if it's a sphere or not. But I don't know. Um, the biggest question that I have to support the world not being, or to support the world being a globe, is something Kimmy said the other night that I've never thought about. And that is how come you can't see the North Star on the other side, like down under, for example? How come the stars aren't the same no matter where you're at? And I would be really curious to know what your response is to that. Because if it's flat, or if there's curvature to it, peaks and valleys, then why wouldn't we be able to see all the stars and all the constellations from anywhere? Slomo says, I do believe people can be recovered, and after you contemplate and find you're recovered, I support anyone that feels the need to partake in plant medicine. Okay, Slomo, so you're on that same recovery train where recovery is possible, and we can be recovered, past tense, which is what the big book talks about, past tense. Slow-mo says, much love, Tala. Yes, indeed. Marky Rizzo, I felt recovered even when I was on Suboxone. I just couldn't get off it. Marky Rizzo, I think personally, I'm happy you shared that. And it seems like that's why you were able to get off of it, is because you were recovered. People can't get off Suboxone successfully and stay clean if they're not recovered, it seems to me. And I'm not saying that as a way to put judgment on people. I'm just saying it seems like you have to have a level of recovery under your belt to come off of it. Righteous Monkey says, I'm back, ate some dinner, took the dogs out. Tara's a natural, ain't she? I don't know about that. I'm doing the best I can, Daniel. Um, I'm so happy to hear that you took your pups out, ate some dinner. I'll be doing the same thing after this. For those of you who came in late or didn't hear, I'm not going to be going as long as I have. I'm going to end this at 6 o'clock because Daniel over at Veterans Anxiety is going to be going live with Discovering Nicole at 6 on Nicole's channel. So I'm going to be ending this around that time and moseying on over there. So feel free to join us over there to support Daniel and Nicole. Aw, Marky, she is. Thanks. I don't feel like that, but I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, we're glad you're here, Daniel. With the I didn't know there was a monkey emoji. I got to use that. That's what I thought too, Tara. Um, Alex, I'm off to cook dinner. Have a great night, Tara. Thanks, you too, Alex. Thanks for letting me share that story with you. Gonzo said, it's undeniable. It's a globe Earth. Ooh, Gonzo is saying it's a globe Earth. So, okay, Gonzo, I'm going to ask you the same question that Marky asked me. What's your number one proof that it's a globe Earth? And what's your answer to the question about the stars? Why can't we see the same stars? Or wait, no, that's the number one proof. What would be your question or I actually have a flat earth story um, to share, but I want to get through all the comments first. And then if we have time, I'll tell you. And if we don't have time, I'll tell you later. Okay, I just jotted it down. Righteous Monkey says slow mo. Although I've I'll always have addict tendencies, I feel I made it out of using and confident that I won't use today. I feel recovered in that sense. That'd be a great video topic. Daniel, I would love to see you make a video about that. Daniel, what are your thoughts on like, I'm curious, because I don't think you heard the conversation about how my nurse practitioner gave me the go ahead eventually to use marijuana, but not today. So her words were that eventually she thinks I will be able to engage with marijuana responsibly and recreationally, but not today, not while I'm receiving treatment for depression and PTSD. But eventually those things will be healed. And so her thought is that I could, and I haven't made a decision on whether I'm going to or not. I have no idea if I'm going to, but your drug of choice, if I'm recalling correctly, was H, and my drug of choice has like I have abused marijuana, and I admit that there's no question in my mind that I've abused it. My question to you is, like, obviously, it doesn't seem healthy to engage with H recreationally. What are your thoughts on engaging once recovered in marijuana recreationally? Because I've heard from other people, I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are. And that is if the person has done the work to recover and been given medical clearance to use recreationally. What do you think about that? Yeah, Marky wants to know what Gonzo's proof is. Not regular ice. Okay, it's softer to chew. I'm not sure how else to describe it. Okay, Anne Marie, but you're not addicted to that anymore? If I understand, that's something that's part of your past? And was it interfering with your life? Gonzo, gravity exists. We've known the world was a sphere since the ancient Greeks. Kimmy's, gravity is relative. Gonzo, science bro, not biased research. Marky, Gonzo with the science bro answer. Righteous. Slow mo, I think I'm going to do a video on that, whether I consider myself recovered or recovering. I know everyone is going to have their own opinion on it, but it'll be a great discussion in the comments. I agree, and I might make the same video. I kind of want to bring the big book into it. Daniel, I know you got clean and sober um in AA, and I think you said you went to NA also. That those people are going to lose their minds, but you know what? I think it'll be a really interesting conversation. Slow mo. I believe the way FE responds to the North Star, FE, is that there is a dome and Polaris is at the center. I'm not 100% on that, but they answered on the debate. Okay, so, okay, interesting. Yeah, I've heard the dome thing before. So that makes sense that if it's a dome, you wouldn't be able to see it in certain places. There'll be an epic video. Righteous, would that like is that would that be off limits for me to make the same video? Because we could both give our perspectives on what we think. They might be different, you know? And what does everyone else think? Would that be off limits if I made that same video? Kimmy, best wishes for Daniel. Let me know how the stream goes. Right on, Kimmy. Would love to hear Gonzo and Marky debate. Yeah, I would like to hear that too. Marky, explain what the ancient Greeks said and why. Good question from Marky to Gonzo. Because the southern hemisphere has a different view of the sky than the northern. Right, that was my question too, Gonzo. And Slow Mo came back with that the Earth is actually a dome shape, and that the North Star is at the top of the dome. Looking south or north? Marky, I can't type it all here, but there's countless evidence on the science side versus conjecture, and but it looks like on the FE side. What's the FE side? I missed that. Yeah, Gonzo's in the chat. The one Marky won't join. I think it says if you were Australia, your view of the sky would vastly look different than if you were in North America. Right. Yeah, Slow Mo supports the Marky Gonzo debate. I also would support that. I would love to host it, but I think I can host things, but I don't think my signal would support that. My signal barely supports me right now. Marky's going to share that content with Kimmy so that she can share it with Gonzo. Just a different idea if you're up to it. Yeah, Sloma, we should all make that video. Yeah, I agree. It would be interesting to hear what everybody's perspective is on it. Gonzo's skeptical of mainstream science just because no, I don't think Gonzo's skeptical of mainstream science. I think he's just making a comment that some people are skeptical of mainstream science just because it's mainstream. Don't want to jack that RM idea. Well, Righteous Monkey says it's definitely not off limits, and I appreciate that because I think it'd be interesting to hear everyone who makes videos perspective on that. It's a hot topic. Anne Marie says I was anemic, and it turned out. Oh, I was anemic. It turned out I don't crave it anymore now that I take iron supplements with vitamin C. Right on, Anne Marie. Yeah, cravings are Um, I think cravings could be well, it could be a sign of deficiency of something, but it could be a sign of addiction as well. So I personally have started communicating all that kind of stuff to my medical care providers so that they can guide me. I used to be skeptical of the whole medical complex, but lately I've been trusting it and it's been working out for me. Gonza says Polaris wasn't always in the center. We've launched thousands of satellites, missions to the moon, and deep space probes. There's no drone. Damn, dude, we gotta set a time for those. We can't just type all our points there. I would love to host this debate. I think it would be great. Kimmy would probably love to host it too, and she's equipped for it, so that might be a better bet. If you haven't been over to Kimmy's Playhouse yet, I suggest it. She goes live on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. Righteous Monkey says, for me, I wouldn't engage in some. Okay, good. Okay, I want to hear. For me, I wouldn't engage in something that I've abused in my past. I don't know the extent of your Mary Jane use, but weed's not the worst thing out there. I guess if you feel you need it and can control it. That's a fair perspective. That's a fair perspective. For me, Daniel, it kind of goes, I'm trying to work it out. I don't really know how he thinks. So I think making that video on recovered versus recovering thing, I think it would be a really good use of my time to process my thoughts, outline what I think, really reflect on the situation. Slow Mo says, did we really gonzo or did NASA just tell us they did all of that? Slow mo pushing back a little bit. Marky wants to know what gonzo. You believe we went to the moon, bro? I don't talk to anybody who believes we went to the moon. Too far gone. The North Gonzo says the North Star wasn't always the center. Earth is over 6 billion years old and it changes. Great point, Righteous Monkey. I agree, Daniel. Great point. Marky says, I mean, Gonzo, come on. You look at that footage as real in 2023. Daniel says, I think you should do a video on it. Talk about your history with it and your reasoning for possibly smoking again, like the pros and cons of using something you've abused in the past, i.e., weed. Yeah, I think that would belong perfectly in the recovered versus recovery um, um, video. And I think I'd feel inspired to use the big book. I think it's going to be a really controversial video, but I think it'll be a good exercise. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone else's videos too. Yeah, Slow-mo, I agree. I think Kimmy could moderate and she's equipped to moderate. I'm not a mass debater, Marquis says. You can literally see the space station orbit on its schedule. I'm pretty master, but not at debating. Neither of them are master, but it could be fun for the both of you still. Yeah, I agree, Slow-mo. Righteous Monkey's really creative and he has great ideas. Slow-mo, maybe Tala or Gonzo. Gonzo loves Marky too much. Wouldn't want to debate him. Just a nice chat. Everything is content. True that, Righteous Monkey. Even bag dumps. Like if bag dumps could take off and get some support, people saying that they're all about it, then anything could go that way. You just never know what's going to go. No pun intended on that one. Marky, Righteous Monkey make content. Marky, Righteous Monkey has a fantastic channel. He just blew through 1K subscribers. He was at 1K like on Friday or Saturday, and then now he's at like I looked today and he's at 1.2. He is doing great things in the community, and if you haven't seen his channel, I definitely recommend checking it out. Marky sub, that's what's up. We do enjoy cordial debates. My favorite debate is like not even about flat earth right now. It's about this whole recovered versus recovering thing, or recovery, or however you want to frame it. Anne Marie, my oldest daughter is literally a rocket scientist. Ooh, working on rockets to go to Mars. How would FE explain eclipses? FE, I'm still lost as to what FE stands for. Debate, in my opinion, is one of the best ways to get to the truth. I love a good, healthy debate too, slow mo. A good, healthy debate. I think I statements would be good in a debate like that. Marky says, I just wish we could use vids. A lot of things need visual evidence. Nah, man. I'm wondering what you mean by vids. Like vids of the atmosphere, vids of. I have this. So I have a flat Earth story, and I'll tell you about it once I'll tell you about it in a few minutes. We've got about 20 minutes left, so that would be a good way to come out. Gonzo says, of course we went to the moon. Slomo says Anne Marie's question about eclipses is a great one. It is a great question. What about eclipses? Slomo, you make a good point about charisma. I think charisma wins 100% of the time too. I agree. Oh, flat earthers is FE. Flat earthers. Okay, thank you for explaining that. That was going right over my head. I agree, Gonzo. Actual research is hard. I used to be in research and development when I was well, I'm still an engineer, but like when I was working in the field as an engineer, I was in R&D, and it is hard, and it does take a lot of time and effort and combing through all the BS. Yeah, Kimmy says, I think it's important to be open and not easily dismiss things. Kimmy, important, not limp. I saw the typo, but I didn't interpret it as impotent. That's a really funny typo. Thanks for that, Kimmy. Kimmy says the thing about research is that it's usually got to be funded by the government. Money speaks. You can find research that isn't accurate at all. 100% agree, Kimmy. Absolutely. Gonzo says he's pretty knowledgeable in history, religion, and specific subjects, but he mumbles and gets nervous. So you'll crush me in a debate, despite if I had all the facts out of sheer charisma. Right. And that's what Slomo was saying about charisma. I wasn't saying right that I agree with all those things about you, Gonzo, because I thought you did great on Kevin's live the other day, personally. Slomo doesn't hold any one belief. When it comes to those things, he stays open and always pushes back on any belief. Just messing with you, Gonzo. I feel the same way, or maybe not the same way, Slomo, but similar. I don't know what I think about it. I know I do question both sides, but I really I don't know. Marky says, bring in someone with you, Gonzo, so you don't feel outnumbered. Gonzo, I don't agree with that. I think you've got more personality than Marky and Slomo's Pinky. Kimmy's tickled. Yeah, exactly, Marky. I didn't get that perception of Gonzo either. I thought you were very well spoken, confident, charismatic. I think it would be great to see you talk about, and not even like frame it as a debate, maybe more. What about if we framed it as a conversation? Just a conversation. So I will tell you before we end, because we're kind of getting toward the end here. I do want to go support Daniel at Veterans with Anxiety over on Nicole's channel starting at 6 o'clock. I have a story. I was in the Santa Ynez Mountains. I don't know if you can hear the dance school right now. I don't think you've ever been able to hear it, but it's pretty loud. I'm going to take a drink of water real quick before I tell you this story. Okay. So there is a castle in the Santa Ynez Mountains. That's California, Central California. It's called Knapp's Castle. And when I was living in my car, I drove back to this castle and I wanted to explore it. Well, I ran into an old couple, elderly couple, who stopped me and they were like, "What are you doing up here?" I was like, "I'm just exploring." And he in the distance, pointed in the distance, and he said, "Do you know what is over there?" And I said, "I have no idea what that is." He was pointing to a big mountain and a mountain range that I could see in the distance. And it was like the ocean and then this big cliff that you could see in the distance. It was really far away. So I said, "What is that?" And he said, "That's Big Sur." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I didn't quite understand why he was telling me this. But then he said, "Shouldn't be able to see that from here." And this piqued my interest because I started learning about flat earth like 5 years ago or something. My parents are actually the ones who told me about it. And so when this guy told me you shouldn't be able to see that from here, it piqued my interest. And I wondered, why is this guy telling me this? But then as I drove away, we said good day, tipped our hats to one another, and it stuck with me. I've never forgotten that he pointed that out to me. And I actually crunched some numbers, and he's right. We shouldn't be able to see. Big Sur from Knapp's Castle. So why could I see it? Our field of vision ends, like the curvature of the earth. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the curvature of the earth, we shouldn't be able to see beyond, I believe it's 3 miles. So why could I see Big Sur? Even though there is some elevation, it's still like sea level. Like Big Sur is not that tall compared to the ocean, the elevation. And I can't remember what the elevation of the tallest point in Big Sur is, but I looked at it for the calculation, and he is right. We shouldn't be able to see Big Sur from Knapp's Castle. Yeah, don't sell your don't sell yourself short, Gonzo. Yeah, Gonzo, we had that debate-ish on my channel last week, me against two pretty devoutly spiritual religious people. It's all good. People can stay respectful and informal. Yeah, Kimmy, good job for handling that. You did good. I still actually, self-admittedly, I still need to watch the beginning of that because I only caught the end of it. I haven't gone back and watched it, but I am interested in it. So I'm glad you left it up. Slomo says, yeah, Gonzo, you handled that interview like you had been doing it for years. Absolutely. Marky gets nervous and starts bumbling. I've never seen that out of you either, Marky. Debate about religion, that was supposed to be flat earth, but we deviated. Yeah, it did deviate. By the time I came in from after therapy, I had there's no way I would have been able to tell that it started as a flat earth conversation. I had to ask. 8 inches per mile squared. That's the 8 inches per mile squared. It's because there is no curve, unfortunately. Right. So that must be the 8 inches per mile squared must be the alleged um, depth of vision that we have. Slomos is very interesting, Tara. Yeah, I also thought it was very interesting, and I appreciate that, Slomo. I'll never forget that in my life. And the chances that that couple would be there in that very moment as I was there, and like I had just learned a year or two before, like it's like, I don't know, what are the odds? Kimmy, were you saying Daniel's going on Nicole's channel? The interview was earlier, but he didn't show. I'm not seeing where it was changed. Oh, really, Kimmy? Because I was in Daniel's live last night, and he said that he was going on Nicole's channel at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So perhaps there was a miscommunication, and he thought it wasn't till later, and she thought he missed it, but he thought that it wasn't until 10 minutes from now. Marky says, even if we double the size to 50,000 miles and adjust, no curve, that's a problem. But facts don't care about what we see. Don't care about what we see. Kimmy, you feel like you get a little too feisty at times because you're passionate? Well, you're welcome, Kimmy. I think it's wonderful that you get passionate, and I think that's part of why we love you. Not the only reason, because there's a lot of things to love about you. Um, I love your feistiness. It's a mirage, refraction. The whole thing, Marky, refraction. Like you think Big Sur is a mirage? Yeah, feisty is good. Casey in the house. Hey, Casey, what's up? Hey, Casey, you caught me toward the end. I'm not going to stream as long as I have been streaming because I think Daniel over at Veterans with Anxiety is going live on Nicole's channel. I could be wrong. Kimmy has brought up a discrepancy that maybe he missed the interview. It was supposed to be earlier, but I was on his live last night and he thought that he was going on at 6 Pacific Standard Time today. So I'm going to end things here in about 10 minutes so that I can go support them. And if they're not on, then we'll just call it a wrap, and that's it for tonight. Unless y'all want me to come back on, but I don't know. Let me know if you want me to come back on, or Kimmy if you want to. Well, you're going on tomorrow night. Casey, how are you doing, by the way? What's going on with you? Did you end up connecting with the dentist? The curve drop. Yeah, Marky. Lighthouses are another example. They can be seen 100 miles out. Yeah, that's an interesting one. She doesn't have anything scheduled or posted about it. Okay. Well, that's pretty weird because Daniel was pretty clear about going on at 6 o'clock tonight. Maybe it'll be impromptu. Yeah. Man, Nicole was made alive earlier and he was a no-show, unfortunately. I think there was a miscommunication. I think he really thinks that he was supposed to go on at 6 o'clock this evening. Got to finish up at work. If you're still on in a few, I'll be back. Casey says, do you have a link? I'm just glad I got to say hi. Yeah, I'm glad you got to say hi too, Casey. I don't have a link because it appears that it might not be happening. Marky's going to start going live and fill the off days of everyone else. Yes. Marky, I would love that. I would love it if you went live. I wish that you would. I think you've shared before that you got to keep your profile on the super DL because of the work that you do, which I understand, I respect, but I think you would have a great stream, like far better than mine. Your quality would be fantastic, I'm sure. Yeah, Kimmy says, do it, Marcus. Do it. I echo that. I would be there in a heartbeat. You have my full support, Marky. Casey says, no, lost my job, not because of me, just part of my job. I don't know. I never say this or get this way. It's a hard time of year in general, and I'm just sad and want to sleep. Casey, I can relate to this because my family actually does not celebrate the holidays. It's a very weird time of year for me because everybody wants to do holiday stuff, and I get really tired of explaining why I don't celebrate the holidays. My family is more close than any other religion to Messianic Judaism, and that's not even accurate because they're into the millennial reign and a lot of the same stuff that Tala talks about. So it's hard for me to even slap a religion label on them, but I can relate to it being a tough time of year. And, when I think about partnering up and spending my life with someone, it's like, how am I supposed to explain that my family doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving, doesn't celebrate the holidays? Easter isn't a thing anymore. But I know that whoever I end up with is going to understand, and maybe their family will be the same way. I haven't really made my decision up on how I feel about things, and my mom knows that. My stepdad knows that. I don't disagree with any of their perspectives. I just think that like nobody really knows, so we have to we have to seek our own truth and let God, universe, whatever you want to call it, kind of lead us down our own path. Anyways, that was like a whole tangent. And in terms of wanting to sleep, Casey, are you getting enough sleep? Uh, I've been also having sleep challenges. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I've been sleeping a lot, which has actually been kind of nice because I wasn't sleeping a lot a few weeks ago. And when I was going through cravings and all that, I was not sleeping a lot. But now that the cravings have passed, interestingly, like I'm not having cravings anymore. I'm just wondering what I'm going to do long term. Um, I'm sleeping okay. Soon I'll be the boss. Marky, you're already the boss, man. Let's face it. We could have a stream every night. Yeah, Slow Mo, I think we're on our way to having a stream every night. And um, I don't know, Kimmy, if you thought about going on Wednesday, but I was thinking about going on Wednesday. If nobody else wants to go on Wednesday, I'm happy to stream after Kevin on Wednesday because I enjoyed the Monday, Wednesday gig last week. That's dope, Tara, in my opinion. Oh, about my family not celebrating the holidays. It's kind of nice. It's also kind of sad, you know, like I wish that we got together more often than we do. Maybe it'll happen someday. About your parents, not about the holidays, though. That's tough. Yeah, it is tough. Kimmy's driving. Right on, Kimmy. It's kind of like a podcast for you, then, huh? I was thinking about that too. I was like, I want to uh, keep it listener friendly, so I'm not just reading comments the whole time, and I'm kind of mixing it up and telling stories and trying to keep up with the comments, which I got a little lost there for a moment, but I kind of caught back up again. Um, Slow-mo says, I can understand it though. I went I went a little hard with the holidays, but now realize it's good for the fam and for most people. Yeah, I think tradition is a really valuable thing to share with friends and family, and it makes it challenging for me. I'll just be honest, and if mom, papa, you're watching this is no offense to you, with all due respect. I just wish that I could get together with my family a little more often. Casey grew up not celebrating Halloween. Yeah, we didn't celebrate Halloween either. So I understand a little. I just got lost. Um, I just lost a friend to an OD. Oh, Casey, I'm so sorry to hear that. And every Christmas time I lose someone, I sleep all the time. When I can, my night terrors are tough though, I think. Um, Casey, my heart goes out to you. I don't wish that on anybody. My therapist actually said that for depression, sleeping can be a good thing. So um, don't beat up on, well, I don't want to tell you what to do, but I try not to beat up on myself when I sleep a lot because it could just be that my state of mental health needs that sleep. 10 and 2, Kimmy. Yeah, drive safe, Kimmy. Jill. Hey, Jill in the house. Nice to see you here. I appreciate your compliment. Slow mo. I met your family being Messianic Jews. Okay, like you dig the Messianic Jew thing. It's not quite accurate, but it's the easiest way for me to describe what they believe. Gonzo's wanting um, some information from Slow mo. He's not sure what slow mo means. Casey says, if I didn't have my daughter, I'd sleep my life away. I feel done, which is not good, but I'll be all right. Yeah, Casey, I know what it feels like to be so overwhelmed. Um, Especially you have your daughter to take care of, and that's a lot to be managing. Um, Casey, what's really helped me to get through my depression and start to see improvements is working with my mental health care provider, my therapist, and also my medical care team, including my nurse practitioner, who's my prescriber, and my primary care. Kimmy says, do it. Okay, I wasn't sure. I was like, do what, Kimmy? But now I see you're talking about Wednesday. All right, I think that's decision made. I'm going to be going live on Wednesday after Kevin. I'm not going to schedule it though, because I don't know what time to schedule it for. And I don't want to mislead people. You know, if I schedule it for 5, like, and I go on at 5:30, I don't want to mislead people like that. So I'm just going to be doing it impromptu. This is definitely a curve. Earth is massive. Yeah, Gonzo, I'd be curious to hear what you have to say about being able to see Big Sur from Knapp's Castle. Yeah, Casey, God has a plan. They just don't always understand. I can relate to that. I think if we could understand it wouldn't it would be a lot easier maybe. But um yeah, that's a loaded topic. Jill says it's round. Jill says the earth is round. Slow mo. Tara, has the fam ever thought about just having a family dinner? This way, y'all could see each other and still don't have to participate in the holidays. Slow mo, my family doesn't actually live in the same state, even as me. We talked about having a family reunion in March, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, which makes me sad. But I think it will happen eventually. I just don't know when. Marky says it's a circle. Marky, do you think it's a dome? I want to just check and see. I set up a notification for that interview. Of course, my signal. Man, I don't see it either. So I guess I'll just keep going. Um, Unless I guess I could look up. Bear with me. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so it looks like they streamed 3 hours ago. Um, that's not what Daniel said was going to happen today, but is life, such is life. So we'll just ride this wave and see where it takes us. Yeah, Jill. Oh, wait. Yeah, Kimmy. Some say the Bible says otherwise. Jill says nope. Google it, says Marky. Slow mo. Gonzo, I just met in response to Tara about the Big Sur story. We were told the facts don't care about what our eyes see. We are told to not believe our eyes. Right. Yeah, in terms of the globe, um, theory. I don't know if I can call it a theory. Um, ideology. Ideology. I think that's a better word. Flat ideology versus sphere ideology. And I don't even think flat is accurate because I've heard people talk about there being curvature, peaks and valleys. Casey, I'm glad you feel safe here. I know it can be challenging to find people who you feel supported and understood by. And I'm happy to hear that you feel that way here. It's a journey, my friend. It is a real journey, and I'm glad you're here with us. Okay, so Gonzo's giving us some statistics here that the radius ranges from 3963 miles to 3357 miles or kilometers. 3950. That's not a huge difference. Uh, that's only that's only 13 miles difference from the highest point to the lowest point. And I looked up the altitude of where Knapp's Castle is versus the altitude of the highest point at Big Sur on the ocean, and still you shouldn't be able to see it. Oh, Jill, my safe place too. I'm so happy to be a part of that. It's an honor, truly, to be a part of creating safe spaces for people to come and recover. Kimmy says no, he didn't show. I really think there was a misunderstanding. I think he thought he was supposed to go on right now. Hey, Whitley's Words, what's up? Just came back to tell you I seen the stream happen 3 hours ago. I guess it was Eastern time. Man, that's a bummer. So I think Daniel probably missed it because he thought it was Pacific Standard Time based on his stream last night. That's a huge bummer. He probably doesn't even know that he missed it. He's probably wondering where the heck Nicole is right now. Yeah, so Casey had never heard the topic of Earth or flat Earth, but when her brother and mom started talking about how it's flat, I'm like, I don't know, but love listening to y'all's opinion about it. Casey, that's pretty much where I'm at now. Although I have seen more support on one side than the other, but just because I've seen more support on one side than the other doesn't believe I mean I believe one side over the other. I don't really know what I think. And I feel the same way about the beliefs of my family. Like I respect, but I don't really know what I think. So I'm asking for guidance to be shown the truth, and that's where I'm at on my journey. A shirt that says just Google it. Man, this is like the debate that would never end. Like, will it ever end? Why Elon Musk's has satellites in the air. Why have we not seen photographs from the Musk satellites? That's what I want to know. Or Google. Google has satellites up there. Jill likes peppermint bark. Tis the season, Jill. Have a good night, Casey. I hope you sleep well. It was nice seeing you. Peppermint bark is good. Yeah, Jill, I had to ask what Effie is too. Effie is flat earth. I feel this topic is so like there's it's such a polarized topic, for lack of a better term and no pun intended, that I don't even know what to say about it. Like, I just appreciate everyone's perspective. I appreciate that y'all feel a certain way. Some of you don't know. I'm in that same camp, um, leaning towards one side, but not really ready to say it. Same thing about recovery versus recovered, which I'll be making a video on here shortly. Yeah, slow mo. Where is the footage? I want to know where those photographs. It exists. So where is it, Mr. Musk, Mr. Google? Gonzo, I respectfully, scientific evidence is really corrupted. Um, I think this is sometimes true. I don't think it's all the time true. I think when it comes to pharmaceutical studies, looking where the funding is coming from is of paramount importance. What was Kimmy's comment? Because Gonzo money talk. Yeah, exactly. That's exact. And I missed that comment. That's exactly what I agree with you, Kimmy. Money talks. Yeah, going with your gut is important. Slow mo. I agree with that. And I think I've said this before in one of the chats, but nobody responded to me, so I'm gonna say it again. And if I feel weird saying this, but if you haven't smashed the like, what are you waiting for? Please smash the like. It helps me out and it's free. I'm gonna say this, but what if the earth is round and it's flat? Has anybody ever thought about that? Like, what if it's both? What if it's round and it's flat? How could this be possible? What if we're in a simulation? Like the Matrix or something like that? What if this is all just, like Marky said, a mirage? If it's all just a mirage, if it's all just an illusion, then perhaps it's both flat, dome, not both, but all flat, dome, and round, or not round, spherical, all of it, and round. What do you think about that? Gonzo, it's not flat. Elon can't be trusted either. I love SpaceX, says Kimmy. If it was flat, wouldn't you want to know? Asked Marky. Jill, you'd rather debate politics? Really? I would not be good at that at all. Jill, Kimmy goes on. I think you're asking Kimmy. Kimmy goes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah, Jill, Kimmy goes on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. Marky, when you say there's no measurable curvature, I'm wondering I'm wondering if there's data to support that. Yeah, slow-mo, I appreciate that. What if it's just our perception? Like, so the flat earthers are correct. The spherical people are correct. The people who think it's a dome are correct. The people don't know it doesn't affect. And all this chaos, all this debate makes any normal person just want to reject everything. But really, the answer is that we need to connect. Why do you keep missing the lives, Jill? What's going on? Yeah, Jill, and I decided on Monday nights at 4:15. I chose the 4:15 time slot because I used to always be high at 4:20. And so I thought to myself, well, if I pick 4:15, I'll be able to follow through with it because I won't be high every day. Like, or I'm not high every day anymore. So I can show up for y'all on Monday nights at 4:15, and that's like significant for me. It's a point of significance. Yeah, Gonzo wants to discuss it. Gonzo, does that mean you're open to having a conversation? That's kind of what I'm hearing, is that you're open to it. Yeah, long form discussion. Gravity is relative. That's true. Marky, you think the Aussies are hanging upside down? That's what we were taught, Marky. I mean, that's what we were taught. Now Kimmy's dropping truth bombs. We got a soundtrack going. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Formulas are also distractions. Wow, Kimmy, that's those are some fighting words to a mathematician, which I am not, but I had to learn a lot. I tutored math. I mean, it always works. Which formulas? I want to know which formulas. I can get on board with a simulation, right, Kimmy? It's the only thing that makes sense to me. And when I trip on ketamine, like not all the time, but sometimes I'm like, wow, am I seeing what like real life, like, am I seeing what we're made of? It's hard for me to describe what I'm trying to say right now, but it's like fractals, like how do you explain fractals, for example? Let me know what you think about fractals, because that's a whole rabbit hole, fractals. What formula? Oh, the b. I'm wondering what the, is it b squared a, is it b twice a? I'm wondering what that formula is representing, Gonzo. I'm very curious about that. Gonzo, to them we are upside down. Typical flat earth argument, easily dismissed with an obvious answer. Jill, I think we should discuss how we all met and feel like family. Exactly. And this is what families do, right? Families get into healthy debates with one another. Case in point. Jill, Kevin. No, we weren't taught that. What weren't we taught? That the people down under were upside down? I mean, yeah, if the earth is a sphere, then centrifugal force is keeping us on the planet, right? Like, what, I'm confused about that one, Gonzo. I've followed a lot of what you said, but what do you mean by no, we weren't taught that? Was it the centrifugal force thing, or is it something different? Yeah, Jill, my attention span for debating has disappeared. Jill, this debate could go on for a long time. I would love to hear Gonzo and Marky or and Slomo all have a discussion about this. I can't host it. I'm not equipped to host it, but perhaps Kimmy will want to host it sometime in the near future. I think that would be a great debate. Or not debate. We're not using that word. We're using the word conversation. Depends on if you believe infinites, Tara. What do you mean by that, Kimmy? I think I missed something. Would love to discuss fractals. Fractals are amazing to me, and I also would like to learn more about them. Um, I see, like, when I have tripped on psychedelics, including ketamine, I've seen fractals, like visuals. And so the question is why? That's what makes me think that we're in a simulation sometimes. Jill's going mushroom hunting, right on. Kingdom Within's back because of the discussion is so rich with flat earth talk. Yeah, Jill, good point. His story depends on who's telling the history. So let's still start calling it her story and talk about. I was about to be inappropriate. Uh, we'll just leave it at that. Let's just start calling it her story. You know what's interesting about that, Jill? You can't believe in everything, you have to have faith. So, interestingly, I tested, uh, I mean, God, I could go on and on about this topic, and perhaps I should save it for another time. I'm just going to make a note because I am starting to get a little like I might need to wind it down here soon. Um, I'm just making a note, Jill, so we can talk about this another time. Female women hunting for mushrooms. Yes, that sounds like a dream. How did you learn to hunt mushrooms, Jill? Yes, Jill, I'm also getting sleepy. Gravity is a religion. Fractals are infinite. I missed that comment, Kimmy. Yeah, fractals are infinite. Exactly. And the universe is expanding. Can you hear that? I think an interesting topic for a future conversation. Uh, well, I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to keep that one to myself. Um, yeah, I don't want to divulge everything. You have to stay tuned to see what the topic will be. Well, folks, um, I think that as we land the plane here, I want to bring it back to the topic that we discussed last night because not everybody in here now was in here. And feel free to continue chatting. I don't want to end the party if there's still momentum, but I like to ride waves. So if there's nothing else that the group wants to discuss, or if the chat has kind of like leveled out, then I want to remind us that our words are important and that a recovery can be supported by selecting the right words. I wanted to give you one more example. I forgot to get to it. And for Jill, I think Jill's the only one that wasn't in here when I was talking about this in the opening. Jill, we talked about I statements and how I statements can be used when communicating emotion, uh, resolving conflict, and also when sharing our own perspectives. So, an example of an I statement would be, um, you are annoying me. And I don't mean that to anybody here in the chat, all this talk about flat earth versus spherical earth. I don't mean that anybody in the chat, anybody in this live stream the whole night, it's not personal to anybody, but if the you statement is that you are annoying me, a way to rephrase that statement would be to take the you out of it and say something like, I'm feeling upset. That takes the ownership of the emotion and puts it on the person who's communicating the emotion versus putting it on someone else. So I statements are really good for when we're supporting others. Um, and it also, like I was saying earlier, it's good for communication of difficult topics like overwhelming emotions, discomfort that we may be feeling. Um, I'm in the middle of dealing with a situation that doesn't seem to be a good fit for me. And so I've been communicating with a friend of mine and um, telling her, I'm in the process of telling her why I don't want to take an opportunity that I was offered. Um, and I love this person. It's nothing personal. I just am feeling like, although I thought it was a good fit for me, I'm having second thoughts, and I don't think um, in terms of my mental health, my sanity, I don't think I'm ready for it. I don't think I'm a good fit. So, using I statements to communicate this is the route that I want to go. And I'm thankful that I know about the you statements or the I'm sorry, the I statements. Getting a little tired, folks. Marky, we're getting close. We're landing the plane here. But everyone's going off. Everyone's going off. There's all kinds of things. Gonzo, I disagree with you on this. A scientific theory is an absolute fact. That's not true. Theories are not facts. That's why they're theories. Right. Okay, I see why y'all blew up. Gonzo, we love you here. We can't wait to have this conversation with you. Jill, it would be, I don't think she's here anymore, but I think it would be great to have Jill in this conversation too, because then there could be two people who are um, sharing their thoughts about how the world is spherical. Kingdom Within said, Kimmy, I just saw your comment and it made me chuckle. I want to read Kingdom Within's comment as we wind down here. So, Kingdom Within says, slow mo, perception is necessary for us to know what is truth, but I believe a lot of it has to do with faith. Also, that we must put our trust in what actually makes sense and is logical. I agree with that. Within says, this is why I choose Jesus Christ. Right on, Kingdom Within. I am um, proud of you that you have the bravery to say something like that and that you believe it. I think it's wonderful that you have something like that that you believe in with all of your heart. I also believe in Jesus Christ and that he died on the cross for our sins. Um, I also respect other people's religions and beliefs. And so that's where I'm at on that. Slomo says, all glory to Jesus Christ. Kimmy's Playhouse says, God, I love this group so much. Marky, you're still here. We get down. Slomo, this group is truly a godsend for me. Love all you guys. I'm so glad that y'all came and that you're here and that we can have these kind of conversations in a civil manner. Yeah, Slomo, Jill must be in the convo. I agree. I don't think she's here anymore. I think she had to bail, but it would be great to have her there. Marky, I think Jill's gone. Praise God. Absolutely praise God. I thank God all the time. I also, oh, Jill, Jill is here. She says she's sleeping. I also think, I don't know what y'all think about this, but it seems like a fitting conversation to close things out with because it seems like I remember when I was in my drinking days and it seemed like the more we had to drink, the more probability that we were going to have a philosophical conversation about existence and God. And I don't necessarily believe that God is the only correct word to use. Like some people use universe. I heard somebody use God universe the other day, and I was like, I actually like God universe because God is the universe. God is us. Like, I'm not saying we are gods, but like God is in us. Um, when I think of the word God, it's sometimes like I use the word God because it's the closest word that I have to use that can describe what I'm talking about to other people. So that's why I use the word God. I don't necessarily believe that it's the only word to use, though, if that makes sense. Kimmy will pay someone $50 to clean her microwave. Gonzo, Streamy's Kimming. Kimmy's streaming tomorrow. Clearly, I need to wrap things up here in the next couple of minutes. Life can get really hard, but one thing I've always been good at is bouncing back quick. Be there in about 6 months. Jill says, good night. Good night, Jill. I hope you sleep good. Light source equals God. Yep, Kimmy, I like that. Bye, Jill. Marky says, we love you. I say, Slow-mo, God is not the correct label. Interesting, slow-mo. There is no true term. Okay, so we're on the same page with that one, and I don't even have a better term than God, but that's what I use because people know what I'm talking about. Gonzo, I believe in God, but I'm a fan of Satan's music. Or is it Santa's music? Hmm? Yeah, Tala, I'm grateful for this community too. I'm glad you're all here. We lost a lot of people with all the flat earth talk, but I'm still glad you're all here. I'm glad that we had the conversation, and I'm really looking forward to continuing it. Yeah, we're fam. Slayer, Gonzo says. I'm personally not a huge fan of metal, although I can get down on some of it. So, um, I think that's about all I've got for y'all this evening. I'm going to enjoy some dinner when I get off of here. It's too bad that Daniel and Nicole didn't go live together. I was really looking forward to that conversation, but such is life. Some things are just not meant to be, or they're not meant to be yet. So hopefully they're able to link up at some point, sometime soon. And I'll be looking forward to that. As long as you put Jesus Christ first, the terms don't matter. Love you all and be blessed. I grew up in the 80s. I can't help it. Programmed with the God label. Very interesting that y'all think that. All right, folks. Well, it has been a pleasure as always. I always enjoy getting together with all of you and hearing what you're all going through, your thoughts, your perspectives. I love you all very much. And this is it. That's all, folks. I will talk to you soon.